I'm Stacy Holmes, and this is Glordinary, a few moments where we celebrate God's glory and champion the ordinary. I'm glad you're here. Hey friend, ever feel like you're going in circles? Tell me I'm not alone in this. I've been spinning all week trying to organize my thoughts for Glordinary. I knew I had a tighter deadline because my sound engineer, my husband John, would be away watching the Lions pummel the Packers. Sorry, cheeseheads. I kept telling myself, figure it out, Stace. Come on, girl. You got to get this done. Round and round, my head's been swirling, and I have pages and pages and pages of material that will never see the light of day. The audio of day? Whatever. Ugh. I irritably expressed as much to John on our way to the voting booth. I just can't figure out Glordinary for this week, John. I'm going in circles. As soon as the words escaped my lips, I started to chuckle. Oh my word, I said with an eye roll. What? John asked. He leads me in paths of righteousness, John. That's the verse this week. Okay, he says. Well, John, the Hebrew for the word paths literally means circles. He leads me in circles of righteousness. Pretty sure there was a mic drop in heaven. Ugh. Yes, we're continuing with the back half of verse 3 today in our series called It's a Psalm 23 Kinda Day. He leads me in circles of righteousness. Circles. It's an interesting picture, right? I can't say I've ever thought of moving in circles as a good thing. It reminds me of a downward spiral, spinning out of control, or circling Atlanta because life's too stormy to land the plane. Kind of like when we think we've mastered something, whether it's a bad habit, a vice, sin, or attitude, only to be making another trip around the mountains, so to speak. Here we go again. Well, there's actually something to that. Something, in fact, quite good, both for us and our fluffy sheep friends, because he leads us in circles of righteousness. You see, sheep are creatures of habit. In fact, they're such creatures of habit, they'll stay on the same no good, terrible, very bad path day after day after day. They'll follow the same trails until they're ruts, same hills until they're wastelands, and they'll toilet on the same paths until infested with parasites and disease. Bon appetit. They'll follow one another into areas prone to flash flooding, being swept away one by one. Really? Yep. They've even been known to walk straight into open flames. Some theologians joke that the existence of sheep alone disproves Darwin's theory of evolution. Funny, not funny. They get stuck, doing the same thing, in the same way, on the same path. Sounds like me. Probably you too, I'd guess. We, like sheep, are creatures of habit. We get caught in the same cycles, the same vices, the same sin, the same thought patterns. And what do we call it? A vicious cycle. Yep. Oh, but for the shepherd. He leads me in circles of righteousness. The shepherd's strategy then is to keep the sheep on the move, not leaving them for too long in the same pasture. This method of movement, of leading, prevents overgrazing and erosion for the land, and pollutants and diseases from infecting the sheep. The shepherd has a pre-planned circular rotation from one pasture to the next for the well-being of the sheep and the good of the land. Did you hear that? For well-being and good. Not because the sheep are just morons making the same dumb mistakes time and time again. Even if they are. Shh. You see, once the maximum good of one pasture is achieved, the sheep will be led to the next pasture. This tells us a couple of things about the shepherd. He must be actively involved and intimately aware of his sheep, their well-being, health, mistakes, and movements. And he must be completely aware of the path itself, what's before, behind, and beside the sheep. But again, it's really all about the shepherd. He leads me in circles of righteousness. But why the circles part? As a shepherd would move a flock from one area to another, he often led them in a spiral pattern up a mountainside. Have you ever tried to follow someone going in a circular direction? There's a level of trust that's involved. You might not know where you're going, let alone the way to get there. But even when we can't see it, we can trust the shepherd is leading us in circles of righteousness. Now, that word righteousness simply means right, or, and I love this part, it could also mean, quote, that which is altogether. His word tells us in Colossians 1 that he holds all things together. And that includes you, my friend, and that includes me too. You're worth being led in circles of righteousness by the one who holds all things together. Yet we, like sheep, think we're perfectly capable of managing our own care, our own movements, and our own path. We prefer our ways. We want our rights, man. We trivialize our choices as a, quote, guilty pleasure or vice. We self-sabotage in our reluctance to let go with a death grip on control. We're stubborn, like sheep. It says so in Isaiah 53:6. We all, like sheep, have gone astray. Each of us has turned to his own way. We don't really want to follow, and we certainly don't want to be led. It's our own arrogance, pride, or false humility that keeps us undernourished and feeding on lesser land, so to speak. We think we're self-sufficient and fully capable. Oh, stubborn sheep that we are. It's not an accident, then, that this verse is linked to last week's. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness. You might recall the word restores means turn back, to turn around, kind of like a circle. The shepherd is consistently and steadily bringing me back, turning me around in repentance and growth, moving me from pasture to pasture. The Good Shepherd desires all of us to move on with him, not to grow weary and sickly, stagnant and worn, to walk with him for our benefit, not our restriction, for our gain, not our punishment. I finally stopped twisting in circles about our chat together when I started to recall the shepherd. That whole, it's all about the shepherd thing. I began to think about all the times that he's led me, guided me in circles of righteousness. And wow, those circles sure do look odd. They haven't always been easy, enjoyable, or even welcomed. Some of those circles of righteousness have been downright difficult, painful, and vulnerable, exposing the ugly, underdeveloped, or unrighteous places in me. I don't always understand the circles he's guiding me to take, and sometimes I step off that path for a minute. Yet even in those moments, those cycles, if you will, the shepherd is always right there, even when it may not feel like he is. He leads us in circles of righteousness for his name's sake, it says. For his name. That's not just like an identity. My name's Stacy. That identifies me. No, it's a Hebrew word meaning the mark of who he is, his character. He doesn't guide us because he has to. He doesn't do it to avoid a bad review. 1.5 stars, would not recommend. No, he guides us in circles of righteousness because it's who he is. He is the shepherd, so he shepherds. He is love, so he loves. He is the way, so he guides the way. He is the truth, so he leads us into all truth. He is righteous, so he leads us in circles of righteousness. If you feel lost today, if you feel like you're spinning in circles, I pray you sense the steady presence of the one who holds all things together. He has not left, friend. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Psalm 48:14 reminds us, "For this God is our God forever and ever. He will be our guide, even to the end." Remember, you're not alone in this. I'm praying for you, friend. Have a glordinary day.